Imagine being fast asleep in your school dormitory. It's just after midnight, the lights are off, the hallways are silent, most students are dreaming about exams, friends, and the future. Then suddenly, someone screams, the smell of smoke fills the air, flames begin racing through the building. Panic erupts. Girls jump from windows, others desperately search for an escape, some never make it out. In just a matter of minutes, one of Kenya's worst school tragedies in recent years would claim the lives of 16 young girls and leave dozens more injured. But as investigators dug deeper into the disaster, they uncovered a disturbing possibility. This may not have been an accident at all. This is the heartbreaking story of the Utumishi Girls' Academy fire. On the night of May 27, 2026, hundreds of students at Utumishi Girls' Academy in Gilgil, Nakuru County went to bed like any other school night. The institution, managed by the Kenya Police Service, is home to many daughters of police officers and serves more than 800 students. Nothing appeared unusual, but shortly after 1 a.m. on May 28th, disaster struck. A fire broke out inside a dormitory housing more than 200 students. Authorities say the blaze started on the second floor while many girls were still asleep. Within moments, thick smoke and intense flames spread throughout the building. Students woke up confused and terrified. Some tried running toward exits. Others rushed to windows as the heat became unbearable. Survivors later described scenes of chaos as girls screamed for help and struggled to escape. Some were forced to jump from upper floor windows to save their lives. By the time firefighters and emergency responders gained control of the blaze, the damage had already been done. 16 students had lost their lives, 79 others were injured. Across Kenya, shock quickly turned into grief. As news of the tragedy spread, frantic parents rushed to the school. Many had received phone calls in the middle of the night. Others learned about the Vata Lendendota Tanta Tanta Tendenta disaster through social media and news reports. When they arrived, they were met with scenes no parent should ever witness: burned dormitory walls, broken windows, ambulances rushing students to hospitals, and heartbreaking uncertainty. Some parents had no idea whether their daughters were alive, injured, or among the victims. Outside the school gates, families waited for hours, desperately seeking information. For many, it would become one of the longest days of their lives. The president and senior government officials expressed condolences as rescue teams, police officers, and the Kenya Red Cross worked around the clock to assist survivors and families. In the hours following the tragedy, investigators began searching for answers. Initially, the cause of the fire remained unclear, but then disturbing allegations began to emerge. Survivors reportedly told first responders that a student may have deliberately set a mattress on fire shortly before the blaze erupted. As detectives reviewed evidence, they reportedly discovered CCTV footage showing suspicious activity before the fire. Soon the investigation took an even darker turn. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations announced that several students had been identified as persons of interest in what authorities increasingly believed was an act of arson. According to investigators, plans for the fire may have been discussed hours earlier. Authorities allege that matchboxes, paraffin, and other materials were prepared before the attack was carried out. If proven true, the tragedy would not simply be remembered as a devastating fire. It would be remembered as one of the deadliest alleged acts of student-led arson in Kenya's recent history. As the investigation unfolded, attention shifted to another troubling issue. Could more lives have been saved? Government officials revealed preliminary findings pointing to serious safety concerns. Among them were reports of overcrowded dormitories and emergency exits that were allegedly locked when the fire broke out. Witnesses and first responders said some students became trapped as smoke filled the building. Others escaped only by jumping from windows. Questions quickly emerged. Why were emergency exits inaccessible? Were fire safety regulations being properly enforced? The government later disbanded the school's board of management and promised disciplinary and legal action against anyone found to have neglected their responsibilities. For grieving families, however, accountability could never bring back the daughters they had lost. Just one day after the tragedy, police announced the arrest of several students linked to the investigation. Over the following days, multiple students were presented before courts as detectives continued gathering evidence. Investigators examined CCTV footage, interviewed students and staff, and worked to establish exactly what happened in the hours leading up to the fire. Authorities also explored possible motives. Reports indicated that some students had allegedly expressed frustrations over changes to examination schedules, school-related charges, and other grievances. However, investigators have emphasized that inquiries remain ongoing and that final conclusions will depend on evidence presented in court. The case continues to raise difficult questions about student welfare, discipline, mental health, and school safety across the country. The Utumishi girls' tragedy did not happen in isolation. Kenya has experienced several devastating school fires over the years. Many Kenyans still remember the 2001 Kianguli fire tragedy that killed 67 students. More recently, the 2024 Nyeri school fire claimed the lives of 21 children. Each tragedy sparked calls for reform, each tragedy raised concerns about safety, and yet another generation of students has now been lost. According to reports, the Kenya Red Cross has already responded to dozens of school fires this year alone, highlighting a troubling pattern that many believe requires urgent national attention. 16 girls went to sleep expecting another ordinary school day. They had dreams, goals, plans for the future. Some wanted to become doctors, others teachers, lawyers, engineers. Today, those dreams are gone. As investigators continue their work and families continue to mourn, one truth remains undeniable. The Utumishi girls' fire is more than a news story. It is a reminder of how quickly lives can change, and a reminder that every child who walks into a classroom deserves not only an education, but also safety, because no parent should ever send their child to school and never see them come home again. The following information is all alleged. If you found this documentary informative, subscribe to Motion Tales for more powerful true stories, historical documentaries, and in-depth investigations from around the world.